Hi, Karen Curry Parker here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. The theme for this week is dreaming, and I want to talk to you today a little bit about the power of dreaming, and most importantly, why we have to dream if we're going to create something new in our life. It's always interesting to me that we have Martin Luther King Day this time of year, and we talk about Martin Luther King. We always go to the I Have a Dream speech, which is just the perfect speech to reference during this cycle of the celestial weather every year. We're dreaming. We're dreaming right now with the sun in the 54th hexagram, the gate of enlightenment, and then as it moves in Wednesday into the 61st hexagram, we have the gate of possibility thinking getting lit up by the sun. Everything this week is about being in a state of possibility, being in a state of seeing what else is out there, being in a state potentially of hope and inspiration, and ultimately wanting to get started doing the work to bring the inspiration into form. That's awesome. I want us to really hold that energy because, yes, absolutely, we got to dream and then we got to do the work, but we can't skip the vital steps necessary to get ready to do the work. Okay? This is so key. If we all could just get this, it would completely change the nature of how we create in the world. It would completely change the nature of what we think is possible, and actually would increase the probability that the things that are seemingly impossible in the world could actually manifest in a fast and easy way. Things like sustainable world resources and sustainable world peace. We could get those here really fast if we could understand that before we go out and start doing the work, laying the groundwork, moving the mud, the physical, tangible things that we have to do in the third dimension, before we do those things, we have to be aligned with the dream of what we're creating. We are literally designed to dream. If you look at the human design chart and you look at the three gates in the head center, the 63, the 64, and the 61, these are the gates that are associated with the pineal gland. These are also the gates that actually are the bridge between our human experience, Earth, and heaven, the cosmos. And when we activate those energies correctly, we actually increase in ourselves the possibility that we could create beyond what we think is possible. And we tap into the cosmic forces, the unseen loving forces that are here to serve us in the manifestation of our dreams, of our visions, of what we can think of and imagine as possible. The job that I invite you to do this week is not so much about doing. I don't want you to do this week. There's not a lot of energy for doing. There's an inner prompting to get started. But before you can get started, you got to know where you're headed. The 54 and the 61 both invite us to drop into a place of connection with Source. Connection with, if you don't want to think of it from God or Source perspective, a connection with possibility. The 54 is an energy that's expansive, that's associated with enlightenment and transcendence. It's divine inspiration that allows itself to be manifested through you when the timing and the energy is correct. The 61 is the energy of engaging in the question of why, and it's a drive to know the unknowable. Now, if you've ever asked the question why, you know that why is sort of the unanswerable question. It's that place where sometimes when life deals us, a curveball, we get stuck in the question why. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did he do that? Why did she do that? Why did he say that? That is also the unanswerable question. Okay, so don't get stuck. This is something to be careful of this week. Don't get stuck in mental tape loops about why, and then start finger pointing and blaming, because there is a little theme going on with Saturn in the 10th hexagram for us to be pointing that finger. We've been pointing that finger for a couple of weeks. Make sure you keep pointing that finger back into your pocket. Don't point it. Don't use it as a weapon. Okay, there's nothing out there that's anybody else's fault right now, in this week's energy especially. This week, it's not about pointing, blaming, figuring out. It's about engaging in bigger questions, engaging in dreams, engaging in visions, and giving yourself permission to dream and have visions, because when we dream, when we have visions, when we start to fantasize and imagine the seemingly impossible, What we really do is we actually create a photon storm in our brains, a storm of light. That photon storm that comes from the result of our inspiration triggers a neurotransmitter process that creates neurotransmitters that flood your body. Those neurotransmitters then create an emotional response, a measurable emotional response, which, let me take a time out here for a minute. You are so powerful that you have the ability with your brain to turn light into matter. That's how powerful you are. You took photons, turned them into neurotransmitters. Okay, time out is over. That photon storm that created the neurotransmitters creates an emotional frequency of energy. It's a measurable frequency that you radiate and emit. And you don't need a measurement tool to go gauge it. Just walk by people and feel them. You can tell just by feeling people, are they happy or not? Are they in a good place or not? You know, it's not that complicated. You know where the happy people are. We tend to be drawn to them, right? Because the higher the frequency of emotions that you're playing with, the more your dreams activate joy, possibility, all that good feeling energy that comes from thinking about solving the problems of the world and living in a world of peace, for example. That energy then calibrates your heart. And that calibration not only decreases your cortisol levels, your stress levels, and increases your DHEA so that you age slower, so that your telomeres are longer, so that you feel better, so that your immune system response is up. Nice thing to have in flu season, right? This is the best flu vaccine ever. Think happy thoughts. That heart is also a magnetic resonance field, and it is part of the mechanisms that draw experiences into your reality and give you something to respond to, something to create with in your physical, tangible world. So think good thoughts, have good feelings, calibrate your heart, attract into your life good experiences that match the energy that you're sending out into the world. But you can't get there if you don't let yourself dream about impossible things, improbable things, things that maybe you don't have the answer how to yet. Maybe you are at point A and you know where point B is and you don't know how you're going to get to point B. Don't do anything to try to get yourself to point B until you've got yourself energetically lined up, until you can trust and feel and sense and be in the feeling level of the creative process, of the possibility of point B. And then once you've really locked into that feeling level of this is what point B is going to feel like, then wait and see what shows up. The cosmic plan and divine mind, I would argue, is way bigger than our human brains. And we have the capacity to pull into our experience anything we dream of if we allow ourselves to dream. I want to just end this week's broadcast with a little reminder. There once was a human being who went outside and looked up at the sky, at the moon, and said, I want to go there one day. And we all said, you can't do that, right? Well, look what happened. We went to the moon. The things that you think right now might be seemingly impossible or improbable in your life can absolutely be real for you. But you can't get there until you dream it first. So have a good dream week. Enjoy the possibility of what could be coming to you. And maybe enjoy the possibility of thinking about things that are bigger than what you think are possible coming to you. And have a great week. Write your dreams down. Take them into your heart. Share them with each other. And don't laugh at each other's dreams. And don't ask questions like, well, how are you going to do that? Let that go. This is not the week for how. This is the week for dreaming. Have a good one. Talk to you next week.